Warm-up match ahead of the game against the Kangaroos. It's New Zealand A who provide the opposition here at Headingley. They're only run out ahead of the tests against Australia. There's no Farrell, Sculthorpe, Forshaw, Peacock or Carney. Let's take a check on the way the two sides line up. Great Britain have Radlinski at fullback. Then it's Hodgson, Horn, Senior and Reardon, Sinfield and Long. The forwards, Fielden, Hudson, McDermott, Morley, Ellis and Gilmore. And the bench is occupied by Wood, Newton, Deacon and Anderson. The coach is David Waite. Now let's take a deep breath. New Zealand A have Sione at fullback, Apuola, Tuamoli, Hassa and Tupou. Bailey the captain and Buckingham is the halfback. And the forwards, McDade, Limmer and Poe, Royal, Poker and Likey. And on the bench it's Tuakura, Faitala, Edmondson and Mackie, and Gerard Stokes is the coach. And Phil Clark on the left, our very own Phil Clark of course, is the Great Britain team manager, and he leads Great Britain out this evening. Behind him Graham Steadman, who has been involved in a lot of the pre-match preparation for this game. David Waite saying that he is content just to sit in the stands tonight alongside Graham Steadman and watch. And Chris Radlinski, what a night for him, leading his country for the very first time. Headingley is the scene for this. What a chance for the rising stars of Great Britain tonight, Paul Wood, Stuart Reardon, Ryan Hudson and Gareth Ellis, to impress. And we will watch here the first match of international standard at Headingley for a full decade. New Zealand A, by the way, they have only managed a draw from their first three matches of their five-game tour. They drew with Cumbria, lost 27-8 to a National League 2 representative side, lost 28-26 to Warrington on Sunday. Now the national anthems. For these youngsters from New Zealand, and now the national anthem. It's a big moment for some of these British players. And there is the coach, David Waite. And talking of weight, the weight of expectation on his shoulders to deliver a first Ashes series victory in 33 years. Now, before we get underway here tonight, traditionally we will have the haka from the New Zealand tourists. It always stirs the blood, and Britain gathering as a group and turning their backs on the New Zealanders as they prepare for this haka. They don't wish to be intimidated by what the rest of us are about to see. Fabulous. It's a stamp of the fact that the Kiwis are here whenever we hear the haka. And the residents, as they are, of New Zealand, they gave it some gusto, didn't they?
Certainly did. If they can play rugby league football with the same ferocity that they displayed, that wonderful haka. There's the man in the middle tonight, Steve Ganson.
And I'll tell you something, Steve-o, Steve Ganson is one of the major candidates to be in charge of the first test against the Australians a week on Saturday. I understand, this is very unofficial, but I understand it's between Steve Ganson and Carl Kirkpatrick, the referee of the year, who'll be in charge of Wales against Australia on Sunday. We're underway. And by the way, this is McDermott with the first drive of the match. Talking of referees, we announced last night that Bill Harrigan would be in charge of the second test between Great Britain and Australia, which is what we were told by the Rugby League. But Bill Harrigan has today announced he's hung up the whistle. He has retired. So it will be a new name in the middle for the second test at Hull. Anyway, to this match, and it's Great Britain who are in possession with the captain Radlinski. He feeds it wide to the loose forward Lee Gilmore. And the physical battle that we expected from the New Zealanders is evident early here. Long under pressure. He just stepped away from the would-be challenger that was Gavin Bailey. The kick downfield to Sione, the fullback wearing the yellow scrum cap. And that's a good chase from Great Britain.
Good kick from Sean Long there under a lot of pressure, but we saw in the opening first set of 6. And oh, that's a big problem. It looks like Morley, is it?
Morley has picked up an injury in his first tackle.
On the knee there, he went in awkward and he felt it. Well, that would be a bitter blow. Let's hope that he can run this off.
But it looks like he is involved in the tackling there on Tyrone Poe. But that's the one danger of matches like this. Ooh, and the kicker then from New Zealand A was hit late by Stuart Fielden. It was the standoff Gavin Bailey, and the referee has spotted it.
Little Dowdy launched himself right into the kicker when he could have pulled away.
So the New Zealand A team with a chance. This is Likey who takes this tackle, and look how close they are to the British line. Now it's with the big second row, Lance Poker. The dummy half is Limmer. Gets it infield to Bailey again. Bailey then finds Buckingham, and it goes wide to McDade. That was Gilmore just completing the tackle. Here now is Jesse Royal, and he drives it forward to within 10 metres of the line. It's Johnny Limmer again at dummy half. Here's Buckingham driving in, gets the ball away to Poker, and the British defence stands firm for 5 tackles. Can it withstand this last one? It's the standoff. Bailey dabbing the ball to the in-goal area, and the winger David Hodgson is content to allow that ball to run dead.
Good start there by New Zealand A. We just saw a shot of their coach, Gerard Stokes. I spoke to Gerard in the hotel. lunchtime, and he said that forget about our past performance so far, we will make a good account of ourselves. And you've got to look to their skipper tonight, Gavin Bailey. He's the one that put in a little grubber kick into the corner. He's got plenty of doubts, knows what it's all about out there.
Well, we've noticed immediately there's a change in number in the British jerseys. Reardon is in 2, as was announced. Hodgson is in 5 on the far side. So that's a late change by David Waite. There are many people within the game who are critical of the squad number system, but at least with the squad numbers, you know well in advance who is in which number. And the Great Britain numbers have changed at the start of this match. We were told Hodgson's in 2, Reardon was in 5, but it's the other way round. Reardon is in 2 and Hodgson's in 5 tonight.
And the funny thing about it is, Ed, is that, you know, on the touring sides that have come to this country over the years, the 2 full-backs were 1 and 2, the 2 left wingers were 3 and 4, and so we're all the way through, right up to 26, and that was when they brought a duplication.
But as well as confusing us, it's not very clever for the spectators, to be fair. And the viewers at home watching as well.
5.
As I say, there are people who have a little dig at the squad number system, but at least it works. That's an inventive little chip over the top, and this is Bailey again, and they have men on the overlap. Oh, they've been brought back for a forward pass.
Well, there were a couple of dodgy ones early to that, and Treble Stokes, the coach, not too impressed by it, but what a beautiful little chip over the top. We mentioned the inventiveness of Gavin Bailey. There he is, and maybe this one, well, that looked all right.
Not that one, and it's not that one.
That looked okay.
But there was an inventive chip over the top, and Sione, the fullback, got the ball away, and they had men out wide, and they would have scored had they not put that ball forward. Well, that's a wake-up call for the British. This is Richard Horne now for them. I think anyone who has watched the New Zealand A side during their tour will know that early on it will be physical for Great Britain. They will have to match them.
Second.
Well, they've got to utilise their forwards, and we can see there, that's what they're doing now.
Good run from Gilmore, not the best pass. This is David Hodgson.
They've got to really hit up of Great Britain. They cannot just hang back. It's not about winning tonight, it's about preparing for the Australians in that first test. They've got to really take it to this New Zealand A side.
Dummy half was Ryan Hudson. The kick, though, was charged down. And was there a little knock on there by Jesse Royal? No, there wasn't. So away they come again, the New Zealanders. They're up to the halfway line. That's the centre, Tomoli. He played the ball to Lima.
Good solid defence, though. England getting off the mark very, very quickly. You can see there on that defensive line, it's going in what we call an umbrella defence. Comes quick and out wide. Just trying to shut them down, make sure that the Kiwis run down the middle.
Last tackle here for New Zealand A. The kicker is Buckingham. The only man to have played for the Warriors from Auckland. New Zealand Warriors, as they're now known. 2 appearances in 1997. But the important thing about this match for Great Britain, Steve-O, is that they get into some sort of rhythm, they get into some sort of pattern.
They need the cohesion, and that's it's often the case, though, Eddie, when you get new lads coming in wearing the Great Britain jumper for the first time, they're a little bit reluctant to show their wares. They just want to go through safety first until they get into the swing of things. That's why it's important that some of these experienced players, the red, white and blue, they lead by example.
That's your legs, get out the ruck. Nothing inside, just step back.
Legs in the ruck by the loose forward, Likey.
Yeah, just lifted the right knee. Solid player. Loose forward, Lucky.
Well, this is the first time that Great Britain have been in attacking mode, really, and that's a good ball offloaded to Hudson. And here is Kevin Sinfield on home turf, of course. Now, can Britain post the first points of this match? Well, they have the opportunity to here because, again, they've been penalised for interference at the play the ball.
There's no point in going for it. They've got to take the tap, and they've done that. Well, you've got to wait until he blows the whistle. International rules.
Well, that's fair enough. He was issuing a warning to the New Zealand A side. He's got to now blow the whistle and make the mark, which he has done. We'll start again. This is long, and there's a chance here. but he just couldn't get the ball away, Gareth Ellis.
First clear out.
Ryan Hudson, McDermott on the charge. McDermott! He's got that ball down.
Just have a look.
He'll go for the screen.
The ball is down. I think Britain have the first try in the shape of Barry McDermott.
Certainly came onto the ball pretty quick. You can see him being turned over. And now then, can he just squeeze it away? Now has he got it? Well, I think this will be given.
Nice and tidy.
The reason why they just whipped him over, if they'd got him straight on, there'd be no try.
Nice and tidy, boys.
They've got to make sure that he's got control of the football, that he's got that right arm underneath, just there. That'll be sufficient. That'll be TRY.
Okay. Back here, lads.
I think that's going to be ruled as a no try. The reaction of referee Steve Ganson. It isn't a try. It's third tackle on the attack. He's been adjudged to have been held up in the field of play.
Barry McDermott.
Well, that ball finished on the whitewash.
Yeah. Right there on the line. Barry's the front man.
Well, that's amazed me. Never mind. No try.
Okay,
that's a let-off apiece now.
This is long, and here is Radlinski, the captain, and the captain will score. Or will he? Doesn't need to refer it this time. Steve Ganson gives Chris Radlinski the first try of the night. The captain comes up with the first 4-pointer, and that's appropriate.
They've enjoyed that. Good link. Good dummy run back on the insiders there. They just hesitated. Didn't go up with that one straight unit, which you have to at this level. Good work from Long, though. And what a finish from the fullback, Chris Radlinski. No doubt about the blocking of the ball in the in-goal area.
And he called long for his corner then from his opposite number, Sione. It's a high shot, but Radlinski got it down.
He came in late and very aggressive. That will have pleased, though, David Waite, the way that this fella run the angle. The run across the face of the defence. If they don't get to you quickly, you're going to leave a gap, and that was sufficient for Radlinski to get through.
Long has rattled up more than 300 points for the Saints this year. He's hoping for a big Ashes series. Hasn't appeared for Great Britain since the 1999 Tri-Series. Here he comes, left-footed. He's added the extras. Great Britain are on the way. They lead 6-0. It should be the first of many.
It's what they needed. And talk about running across on the angle. Watch how Long does it. In and out, sucks them to him. Dummy runner, see how he just pulled in Vasa. They were all at sea there. And that's a good try. Big night for this fella. Captain of the national side. No greater honour.
Well, injuries restricted Radlinski to just 21 appearances this year. 26-year-old Wigan fullback, captain of his country in this international. And here is McDermott, who was denied by the video referee. Well, first half possession very much in Great Britain's favour. And this now is Gareth Ellis, and what a night for him. Wakefield's first international for 12 years. Many congratulations to Gareth Ellis, and indeed Shane McNally at Wakefield for turning him into a Great Britain international.
He's fully deserved his opportunity to get the chance there.
Lee Gilmore, who will be operating at St Helens next year.
That could have been late there. Limmer came in very late indeed. Could have been judged to be a flop.
The kick from Sinfield is fielded by Sione, the fullback. Long is leading the chase.
Good position there by Sione. He'll have a lot of work to do, that's for sure.
This is the winger to Pau.
It's quite obvious that David Waite has told Sean Long that it has to be a long kick deep downfield, because that's the type of kick that we need against the Australians. We can't afford just to give them straight the ball, say getting down the throat of Lockyer. Got to make sure that we push him away. England A did that last night to great effect.
And this is Lance Poker, the second row forward, on halfway. He plays the ball there to Vasa. A big dig downfield, and that will be allowed to bounce by David Hodgson. And into his arms it goes.
First, back here, all the way back, all the way back.
And now it's with Keith Senior. Keith Senior, 14 Great Britain caps.
Good defence there from New Zealand.
Must emphasise, by the way, although this is an international fixture. It's not a fully fledged test match. There will be no caps issued after today. That's really untidy round the play the ball by Morley, and that's even more untidy by McDermott.
The knock on, gave him the benefit of the doubt. Morley was made a real mess of trying to play the ball, and it's good refereeing by Steve Ganson. As you say, it's not a fully fledged test, so therefore no caps is the situation with Morley. It should have been penalised, Morley. You've got to regain your feet. But Ganson knows, as David Wade and the players know, this is a build-up for the test series against Australia. Can't be pedantic. We've got to make sure that our boys get a good knockout.
Kevin Bailey, who's an experienced stand-off half. This now is Jesse Royal, who started every game so far on this tour for New Zealand A. It concludes with a match against National League One, by the way, at Lee at the weekend. It is Likey again, the loose forward. Made his first appearance of the tour on Sunday. Now Buckingham gets it away to Bailey. That's a good ball to Vasa. Bailey waits at dummy half. Buckingham again. Showed it to Wong. Took the tackle in the end from Barry McDermott. Last tackle.
Could be a chip over the top here.
Will be diffused in the in-goal area by David Hodgson.
Well, he's got to wait for the referee's whistle. We can't do what we've been used to in Super League.
Now he can go. The referee has blown the whistle, and that's absolutely correct, isn't it, Sean McRae? International rules.
Yeah, it is, Eddie, and I think all the players will have been cautioned before the game and warned about that sort of thing, and you know, they know what the rules are. They've got to play to the whistle, and I think that's fair enough. You've got to allow the defensive time a little bit of time to get set. The kick was a poor kick, and you're not necessarily going to reward that for poor skill, but at the same time you've got to give the New Zealand A a chance to get back. I think generally it's been a pretty good start by both sides. I don't think the pace of the game is quite what we saw last night, but I'm sure that will start to pick up with a little bit more confidence from players. Very cautious start by the Great Britain side, and I think a very simplistic start by the New Zealand A side. Looks to me like they just want to take the ball to the last tackle and get a good kick in, and make sure they tie up some time with possession.
That's a lovely chip over the top by Sinfield, but it's well fielded by Sione again.
Well, we knew he was going to be put under a lot of pressure, Lucy Sione, but he's certainly put himself about. Good positional play.
And I thought, Steve-O, that we would be all right because Lucy Sione wearing a yellow scrum cap, but also over on the far side, Vila Apuala is also wearing a yellow scrum cap, so confusion might well reign before this evening is out.
Well, at least I can say he's wearing the yellow skull cap.
He got a nasty bang on the eye. You see it there, the egg above the eye, on the eyebrow. He picked that up in the match against Warrington at the weekend, Vila Apuala.
You can see quite clearly that New Zealand haven't been forced into playing one-out football, and they're only left with well, one objective, and that's to make sure that the kick's downfield. What about chase? Big problem will be late in the game when the power and pace, and of course how much petrol in the tank has Great Britain got as against New Zealand, who they're even struggling at this point now, but they're doing a good job.
It's with Stuart Fielden. He pops it back to Stuart Reardon, his Bradford Bulls teammate, but it's vigorous, the challenges from the New Zealand A side, and as I keep emphasising, it's what we expected, certainly for the opening 20 minutes. But it depends, as you say, just how much they have in the tank, New Zealand A, as this match progresses. Long now for Great Britain. Finds Radlinsky. Last tackle here for the New Zealand A. They all play in the barter card competition, by the way, in New Zealand, which came into being about 3 years ago. And Buckingham collects that kick through. It's the competition below the NRL standards, where Auckland, or now the New Zealand Warriors, play down under. They are way short of Super League standard. And as I say, the National League 2 representative side, coached by Peter Rowe, beat them last week. And it was a very much experimental Warrington side that they played at the weekend as well. So Great Britain would be expected to win by a wide margin.
The biggest problem that they've got is that they keep looking at the scoreboard, knowing that the time is ticking away, and they say, well, you know, we really can't get into the swing of things. And that's been brought about because the Kiwis are going through their full sets of 6.
14, Carl Edmondson is on, and there he is trying to get the tackle in, and does get the tackle in on Radlinski. Edmondson being tracked by a number of Super League clubs, we are told. One of them, I understand, St Helens.
Come on, move!
He's Cumbrian-born. They have the penalty, Great Britain.
Calling clear.
Carl Edmondson, by the way, number 14, Cumbrian-born. So he carries a British passport, and that might make him fairly attractive to Super League clubs with the quota.
It sure does, doesn't it? Oh, they failed to find it. Oh, they've got away with it, have they?
They have just.
Dear me.
Apuula just couldn't get the hand on it. Well, they're going through the sets, New Zealand A, as you rightly said, Steve-O. 100% so far. Great Britain not doing too badly. And here they come. Oh, this is a stroll-in. That is a stroll-in for Gareth Ellis. The first Wakefield man to play international football for 12 years since Gary Price played against Papua New Guinea in 1991. And the 22-year-old from the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats grabbed the opportunity to score one of the easiest tries of his career so far.
Fortunate in many ways is that the kick from the penalty wasn't good. It bounced 3 or 4 times, but a good step from Ellis. He's shown a lot of that in Super League this year. That's the reason why David Wade has given him the opportunity, and certainly has paid him back. This is the kick that, well, very nonchalant. Had 3 bounces before it went through, very close to that. Look how he runs the angle and the step. Super stuff, isn't it? He knew exactly where the line was. I mentioned earlier that the Kiwi defence looked tired already. Nearly a quarter of this game has gone.
Remarkable statistic about Gareth Ellis. He hasn't scored for Wakefield since April, but between times he scored for Yorkshire in the Origin match, and now he scored for Great Britain. Long adds the extras. Great Britain are ahead by 12 points to 0. We're live at Headingley, watching Great Britain counting down to the eagerly awaited Ashes series against the Aussies. Let's hope we'll all be doing cartwheels on the 22nd of November. Gareth Ellis, second try for Great Britain. Centre for the Wildcats, second row here tonight. Lucy Sione now to restart for New Zealand A. And Long is the man who is underneath it.
Tackle and move out! Move out!
Drive forward by Paul Wood on his international debut, just on Paul Wood of the Warrington Wolves. And Sinfield brushes away from one would-be tackler, gets the ball away to Wood again. Remarkable rags to riches story for Paul Wood, isn't it, to be in the Great Britain setup for this Ashes series. Oh dear, that's a bad mistake by Lee Gilmore. Not under any great pressure, put the ball down. Nothing wrong with the pass from Hudson.
He just looked at the opposition coming towards him. It's amazing how many people do that. Full credit to New Zealand A side. We knew that they'd come out pretty rough and tough. They're trying to, well, test the referee, Steve Ganson, by holding down the Great Britain players as long as possible.
Tupou plays the ball to the centre, Vasa. Good strong tackle there by Paul Wood. David Wade said that he hopes he will do him a job in the Ashes series. We wait to see what that is. This is Fatala being forced back, almost losing the jersey. Limmer gets it away again to Bailey. Bailey then to Edmondson. Well, he's out to impress Carl Edmondson, there's no doubt about that. And it's Limmer again from dummy half. And it's a test now of the British defence.
Good run by the hooker as well.
Buckingham dabs the ball through. That will be swept up with it. Oh, yes, by Radlinski, but only off a ricochet from Long. And it's Apuala who came in and dumped him to the ground in goal.
Nice little chip through, Buckingham. Making a bit of a nuisance of himself there, but the winger, Apuala, got the shoulder in there. That's what the Great Britain guys need. Couldn't take it in clean, is Sean Long. One thing that Great Britain have to avoid, and that's thinking that they can just keep this ball alive. They've got to utilise the forwards. They've got to get themselves battle hardened for this Test series.
Good clearance.
They've got to get through their work.
Here's Edmondson again, and that's a big hit. I know you're a little worried with the fact that the Australians are going to have 4 hard matches in the build-up to the series.
Well, we've only got this, Eddie, and that, of course, does worry me. Any game of any sort is far better than training, I can assure you. But is it sufficient? We've got the quality. Have we had the right build-up?
It's Bailey, and he gets it away here to Poker, and it comes wide, and they have a chance here. They have more than a chance. They have a try from Sione, the fullback. Lucy Sione, a try against Warrington on Sunday. He was on the New Zealand residence tour to Australia in 2000. He was in a side beaten 108 by the Kangaroos. He won't be in a side beaten 108-0 by Great Britain.
And a great build-up there. Great Britain were very, very slow. Richard Horne came out of his position, back on the inside in the full-back. Lucy Sione, who's had plenty of work to do. See, Richard Horne had gone right out of it. He was left in no man's land. It was great work by Vasa to send the full-back in for a try. And that was well worked. And David Waite will have to get the message straight away that this one line of defence can't just hang back, some of you, others move up. And Richard Horne, who it surprised me of his selection in the centres, Eddie. I always feel he's a lot better at full back, and it showed up there his inexperience.
Buckingham with the conversion, bang in front. It's 12-6 to Great Britain. And there's the try scorer.
There you see, Horne comes right out of it. He's in no man's land. It was always going to be a try. And when Vasa took the step and the support play, which was quite superb from Sione, the best try we've seen tonight, and he will remember that for a long, long time. And maybe that's a good kick at the backside that this Great Britain squad needed. Talking of the kick up the rear, Eddie, the Australian media down under has really taken Chris Anderson's Kangaroos apart, saying it was a woeful performance last night. So they're ready to put the boot in already. And we've got to make sure that our guys, the Great Britain players, do exactly the same thing. Legally, of course.
New Zealand A then, with their tails up after that try. They play, by the way, in a 12-team competition, 8 in Auckland, 1 each in Taranaki, Wellington, Canterbury and the Central North Island. They play 16 weekly rounds, then a top 5 playoff, culminating in a grand final. But it's very much the undercard as far as Rugby League Down Under is played. Britain are on halfway with Reardon. Here is Radlinski, and now here is Gareth Ellis again. Richard Horne again.
Second here. Come on.
Hudson and Sinfield and Paul Wood. But they're not making too much progress through this defence at the moment. That's 3 tackles gone. That's a good ball from Long. And this is Gilmore. He's got support from Ryan Hudson, and Hudson will touch down behind the sticks. Great Britain respond. They got through the defence that time all right. Hudson with the try. They've castled the captain.
Good work on that short side. Gilmore coming at pace. Get this cool back on the inside, as all the hookers should do. Trail back, down the middle. The ball will come back inside. Good pass there, but he run right onto it. You can see that the New Zealand's both of them tucked into 2-on-1. Neat little pass from Gilmore. That's nothing better. Playing loose forward tonight, Gilmore. Running out wide in the centres, but what a season for this fella here. Who would have thought at the start of the year that Ryan Hudson would be trotting out in Great Britain colours?
Indeed so. Sean Long about to add the extras here from bang in front. 16-6 this for 18-6. And 18-6 it is. Courtesy of the boot of Sean Long. And the Stan Wall, as ever, alongside him. Almost teammates at St Helens, those two. Sean McRae's watching on the sideline. Impressed, Sean?
Yeah, reasonably. I think Great Britain is still lacking a little bit of cohesion there, and that's to be expected, Eddie. There's players here that just haven't played as a combination before, and you know they'll get better as I think they'll get better in the second half as the game progresses, and particularly as the fatigue factor comes in for the New Zealand A side. I think that could be a deciding factor later on. The New Zealand A side, though, I think they've been more impressive, probably because of the simplistic nature of the way they've played this game. They're quite contentious to take play after play up, get themselves in position to kick and put a reasonable chase on. And when they've done that, they've put the Great Britain side under a lot of pressure. When they've come up with a poor kick, as we saw from that try that came then off Lee Gilmore inside to Ryan Hudson, that's the sort of pressure they don't want. And Great Britain are more than capable of coming up with tries from anywhere on the park.
Well, there's the statistic of the completed sets for New Zealand A. 10 out of 10. It's 8 out of 11 for Great Britain. That's emphasising the point that Sean and indeed Steve-O was making earlier in this first half.
You can't do much better than that. And the simplicity factor for the Kiwis has to be that, and make sure that the longer they have the football, the less the Great Britain side can score. Simple, basic rule.
The kick downfield was from substitute Paul Deacon, who is on. Interesting to see the combinations that David Waite uses during the course of this match. Deacon and Long, Sinfield to loose forward from standoff. It will all happen, I think, as the game unfolds. He wants to see various combinations. That's a great ball though around the corner, and here is Sione again. And they're playing good football, New Zealand A. This is a totally different side to the one I saw on Sunday. And it's now with Vasa. And he is all wrapped up. That's good defence.
Better from Richard Horn there. He got caught out early when the fullback Sione went in for that try.
Poker with the pass to Bailey, and him with the kick downfield, and that skips away trickily from Reardon, who picks it up before it goes over the touchline, and then picks up a hefty challenge from 3 New Zealand chasers.
Pretty slow to get into the dummy half position there, Great Britain. Richard Horn had to come back, and he's lost it. That'll be a knock-on.
New Zealand ball.
Well, it's not a vintage performance so far from the red, blue and white. We can do better. It wasn't ripped away, it was just a sheer contact of it hitting the ground.
Okay, stay away.
So the Hull youngster
Breeders.
to make amends for that.
Stay in. Okay, Great Britain, Kevin, stay in.
So much pressure on Great Britain, of course, because everyone anticipated it was just going to be a cakewalk. But fair credit to the Kiwis, they really are giving it the best shot.
And pressure on them also, of course, because of the highly respectable performance from the English last night against the Australians. This is the second row again. Jesse Royal. He started every game so far on this tour.
Well, he's the one that's attracting Penrith to offer in the contract, evidently.
That's a drive in by Tuakura. This is Limmer. They're allowing him to run from dummy half. That's the last one. And there's another completed set of 6 here for the Kiwis. That's a nice stab through. Sione! Has he scored his second? I think he has.
He has. That was an awful attempt to clear the ball.
Inside and grounding.
They look completely at sea, Great Britain's defence there. They just hung back and they say, well, someone else will get to it. Neat little kick by the halfback. He's onside, and I think he gets it. That's his second try. There'll be no doubts about this. That will be given. TRY try for Sione. That's his brace. He'll be looking for the hat-trick soon. Good positioning by Steve Ganton. Had to make sure, though. Thought maybe a bit of a wobble, but that was very poor defence indeed.
Ray Tennant is tonight's video referee. I think this will be given the green light.
TRY.
It is. Sione. Well, what a night the 20-year-old fullback is having.
Have you got it there?
It certainly is, and fully deserved. And David Wade has got real problems because his Great Britain outfit are just thinking they can go around and walk around. That really wasn't the best effort, was it? Kicked through with a little half-back. He knew exactly where he was going, especially the full-back did. And if the amateur side from New Zealand can do that to Great Britain's defence, you have to shudder to think what the big Australians may do, especially with the way that Kamali is playing.
Buckingham has added the extras. It's 18-12. Doesn't look terribly impressed, the Great Britain coach, does he? And by the way, I took some years off Mr. Sione. He's not 20, he is 28.
He's acquitted himself very well, hasn't he?
And so has this New Zealand A side. They're getting through their sets. They are hanging on to the ball, and they've scored 2 fine tries. News of Adrian Morley, Bill.
Eddie, just a bit of concern for Great Britain. We saw Adrian Morley early on in the game take a bang to the left leg. Well, he's sitting on the sidelines now with his left thigh iced, but it doesn't look anything too serious, and certainly just at this stage of the season, the series rather, with so much at stake, they can't afford to take any chances. And Terry Newton has come on for Great Britain. Ryan Hudson has gone off, and Terry Newton a little bit dazed out there. He had 3.5 hours sleep last night. His partner gave birth to their daughter last Friday, and Terry, not knowing that he was going to be playing this evening because Gary Connolly was due to have started for Great Britain, but he's got a stomach upset. Well, Terry Newton last night did the noble thing of volunteering to do the baby feeding, and then he was told this morning that he was playing, so he's a little bit groggy.
Oh dear.
Second, come on.
Hodgson takes the tackle. Britain looking for a spark, and it's not coming.
That is very poor play.
And they have the chance here with Tupou. And they're asking for the knock-on, which is given.
First knock on.
They'll take the first one, though.
Which was from Great Britain. This will be head and feed to New Zealand. Oh, he's giving it the wrong way. I think they've been badly done too. The Kiwis.
Well, he had crossed the advantage line, as he's explaining to the Kiwis here.
We can't go all the way back there.
Well, how many times do you wanted to go forward? It just because they had the advantage on that occasion. I don't know whether getting it. Well, he did lose it. Yeah,
Yes,
he lost there, but
here's Richard Horne now, looking to produce something in attack for Great Britain.
well, we've got to get the forwards rolling.
Number 1.
They can't just go out there and think that it's such football. And look how fancy we are. We've got to roll the sleeves up. Get some hard work in the forwards. Get over the advantage line.
Exactly like the English youngsters did last night.
Precisely.
But here is Deacon. And he gets the ball away to Gareth Ellis.
4.
More urgency. Come on, shouting for the football. Gimme, gimme.
Deacon again, untidily. It finds its way into the arms of Fielden.
They don't have to be fancy yet. Work, work. Roll the sleeves up.
Long dabs the kick to the in-goal area. The full-back has lost that.
First knock on, I think.
And it's a knock-on against Sione.
Difficult ball, but again we see Sione in a very good position. He reads the game exceptionally well.
He lost the ball.
I'm not so sure that he lost it there. He went backwards.
There it is.
Yeah, but that went backwards. That should have been play on. And that should have been classified as Radlinski kicking the ball dead in goal. It's been undone again.
Britain with the possession from the scrum. Deacon, he looks for Long and finds him. And Long gives it to Senior. And Senior gets over the line. Try for Great Britain. He arced across the field then, Kid Senior, from the base of that scrum. He was looking for the pass that eventually came from Sean Long.
Don't get anywhere near. It's badly done to here. That looked as though it went backwards, came off Radlinski. But they got the head and feed. Neat little run around. Good work from Sean Long. Been the start of the show in red, white and blue tonight is Sean Long so far. Nice combination with half-back Diskin. Sheer strength from this fella. Once they get to it,
Keith Senior then with the try for Great Britain. They have actually won 7 of 10 against New Zealand at full test level on this ground in the past, Great Britain. Probably the overall result tonight, well, it shouldn't be in doubt. But the manner in which Sean Long and the Great Britain players achieve their result is what is so important, bearing in mind what's to come for 3 Saturdays from Saturday week.
Forget about the scoreline, Eddie. This is all about getting themselves organised in the forwards. We have not seen that yet. We've got to have a lot more bite to our play. At the back of the minds, that's a great kick.
It is a great kick. Long makes it 24-12.
Just making a point at the back of their minds. They know that they can beat this New Zealand side by kicking the ball alive, but that is, we cannot go in thinking that it's just touch and pass. We've got to steel ourselves. We've got to rip this black and white army. We've got to rip them to pieces.
The Leeds Player of the Year has just come up with the latest Great Britain try, 24-12, with fractionally less than 3 minutes to half-time. Well, it would look prettier on the scoreboard from a British point of view if it's a 3-0 alongside their names. But New Zealand A, they deserve credit. Senior, quick play the ball. Oh, off the chest of Fielden. There are errors all over this field.
We're not up the races, Eddie. The fact is that that's about a 4th or 5th occasion that we've seen the English player going for the football and look at the opposition.
That's Edmondson again. Wasn't he tackled?
No.
Apparently not.
Wasn't completed. They went for him. A few British out there going far too high. You've got to get the legs.
Gavin Bailey.
That's the way to do it.
They're looking for another try here, New Zealand, in the shape of Vasa.
Back on the line.
And Great Britain are not completing their sets of 6 like the New Zealanders are. There's Bailey again. Drive forward by Faitala.
It's just basic rugby league football that the Kiwis are utilising, but at least their forwards are setting the platform. Now they'll launch something.
Buckingham with the kick. Oh, and Fielden has knocked on underneath his own post.
Back here on the 10.
And they're getting frustrated. It's what the England A did to the Australians in the second half last night at Brentford. Not the best attempt. And I think the nerves, not only the nerves that got to them, but they're just thinking, oh, we are not getting it right. But where's the spark? I'm watching out there and I just can't see that the players are actually talking to each other.
The ball's coming, don't worry. Ball.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall when David, I know he's the most, well, as calmest coach I know is David Wade, but for once in his life, he wants to start banging doors.
Well, I think what he was telling me earlier today, Graham Stedman will be doing the half-time chats.
Well, he'll certainly lift them. Brian Noble has been out on the field of play a couple of times trying to lift them again.
This is Tupou. And the New Zealanders in the last minute of this first half looking for something here, and that was a neat little ball that found Walter Mackey. There is Messrs Stedman and Noble looking a little bit stern on the sideline as Buckingham tries to drive in again. Limmer gets it away, and this is Mackey once more. And now Buckingham. Cut out pass, he has found Lance Poker.
Worked hard the second row. Lance Poker.
Last tackle here, just before half-time. New Zealand on the attack, and Buckingham with the kick to the in-goal area. Oh, and it drifted too long in the end. That will be the last action of this first half. And the coaches will be anxious to get to their players in those dressing rooms. Well, that's the half-time siren. And I think he will be the more content of the two coaches, Gerard Stokes and Lucy Sione with 2 tries. All really that New Zealand A deserve. Great Britain led 12-0 after 19 minutes, but New Zealand A have not lied down. They have kept coming at Great Britain throughout the course of the first half. And it's only a 12-point advantage at the interval.
Sunday at 1:30 with Premiership Plus.
We'll be in the Champions League very soon.
Now Houlier's team must prove themselves as they face one of the season's surprise packages. Fulham versus Liverpool. Houllier has it all to prove. Live on Premiership Plus in association with Bet365. Sky Sports subscribers can order this game for just £6. See channel 433 or call 08705 160 160.
Scenic. Park with TV.
Be one of the first to see the simply stylish collection of sofas by Linda Barker only at DFS. Be one of the first to save with special low introductory prices. There's 4 years free credit, and whatever you choose, everything's free for a year.
I like them. I think you will too.
But don't get too comfortable, because the low introductory prices must end Sunday.
Jane and Mary have known each other since school, but there's a big difference between them. Jane phones with Tele2, so when she calls Mary during the daytime, she only pays 2.5 pence per minute for her national call. Mary is still with British Telecom, so when she calls Jane, she pays 7.9 pence for her call. That's 3 times more. Who do you think was always better at maths? Call Tele2 free on 0800 279 5454. Tele2, why pay more?
At QuickFit, Pirelli, Dunlop, Continental, Michelin and other famous brand tyres are coming down. And staying down. QuickFit, keeping prices down.
What are you doing here? Oh, with my dad.
Sorry, do you mind if we...
No, Gary.
Caroline.
For just $14.99, get 1 large pizza with garlic bread and potato wedges, plus 2 movie tickets.
Oh, you got some on your face?
No.
Just here. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dad, the movie tickets.
Oh, do you want to...
Yeah, okay.
Pizza Hut, grab a slice of the action. In the Euro NCAP crash tests, only 1 car in its class has been awarded 5 stars for safety, the new Renault Scenic.
Our kids, who've grown and flown the nest, now only phone us to request more cash on loan, their tone depressed. We're stony broke, they drone, distressed. They moan, we groan, but reinvest in those who've grown and flown the nest. Our blood and bone, our own, our best.
If your kids are nibbling away at your nest egg, find out more about Prudential Savings and Investments, all part of the plan from the Pru.
Well, we're watching Great Britain here against New Zealand A. We will get a glimpse of the Australians ahead of the test matches. They're in the valleys of Wales. They're live on Sky Sports 2 on Sunday at 1:30. Wales against Australia, live Sunday. Great Britain 24, New Zealand A 12 at half-time, and not a terribly convincing performance in the first half from the British Lions. But they're ahead, but only by 12 points. And it's Graham Steadman who is talking in the centre of the room, and David Wade just sitting quietly by the door. I wonder if he will have his say before the players return to the field. Experimental in many ways, the Great Britain side tonight. But New Zealand A, Well, they would be well pleased. At one stage, they had a 100% completion rate when they were in possession. And to be fair to them, they've only missed 9. They are playing very well. They are solid as a rock. And Great Britain finding extreme difficulty in getting through them. But as I say, this in many ways doesn't matter that much. What we want more than anything is a performance from Great Britain. Sadly, in the first 40 minutes, we haven't seen it. But there's no captain out there. He's here with us, Andy Farrell. What would you be saying now?
You can't play rugby league without the ball, Eddie. I think, you know, a few basic errors really were, you know, players who don't normally drop the ball, just dropping it on impact, and, you know, there's not that much that the players are doing wrong as far as shape and things like that. It's just very basic errors.
Basic errors. It's not really the sort of performance we were expecting. We thought they'd just brush this Kiwi side to one side.
Well, we expected that, Eddie, but you know, things are not going to go right in a test match as well. So you know, things are going to break down in test matches against Australia especially, and it's how we react to this. And this is a good test for us at half time now. Can we regroup and address the things that has gone wrong and get better? And I'm sure they'll come out with a good performance second half.
Well, a week on Saturday night, if we were 12-0 up at half time, Great Britain, that is, against Australia, we'd be cock-a-hoop in this studio, Steve-O. But your face tells its own story. You're not impressed.
No, I'm not impressed at all, and I think that pride should come into it. You know, there are a lot of kids out there that play rugby league. They give their arms, they give their legs to pull on a Great Britain jumper. Where was the pride in the first half? Where was the involvement? Where did the shouting? No communication at all. We thought it was going to be easy when Radlinski went in for their first try. Just before that, McDermott had a try turned down. But full credit to the Kiwis here. They are playing very basic rugby league football, and when they get into a position back on the inside, that was good work from Lucy Sione, and I must say he has impressed me so much. This is his second try. Good little kick through by Gavin Bailey, the skipper, and he was there, and we expected, didn't we? I said that this Kiwi side would take it to Great Britain for the first 15-20 minutes. We didn't expect it for the full 40. There's work to be done in that dressing room at half-time. It is not good enough. It is extremely shoddy, as we say in the north of England up here, and we have to turn it around. Someone has to get some pride into their play, and someone has to tell them that there's passion and you play as a team. I am extremely disappointed, and I'm sure a lot of people out there will join me.
Well, I suppose our disappointment is exacerbated by the fact that England played so well last night against the Australians, the young guns, the young bucks of Super League. Steve-O's not impressed. Andy's come up with a few excuses why things aren't going quite the way we had all believed it might do. I wonder what Sean McRae has made of it on the sideline.
Well, Eddie, I've been impressed with the Great Britain side when they've had a poor kick to field or when they've got quick play of the ball. They've been able to play with the way they wanted to play. But when New Zealand have kicked the ball well and they've struggled to come out of their own half, or when they've had a slow play the ball, I don't think Great Britain have quite handled that situation very, very well. But having said that, I think I said in the first 40 minutes, when you've got combinations out there that haven't played a lot of rugby league together, and it's your first hit out, and you've got that pressure where you've got to get things right, you've got one game to get things right before the test series starts, it's a different type of pressure that you've got to handle. But I think the New Zealand side, the New Zealand A side, have done particularly well. Jared Stokes knows his strengths. He knows the Great Britain strengths. What he's done, he's come up with a simplistic game plan to put into practice and to finish off every set with a good kick. That one there is probably the worst kick we've seen tonight. But here's some pressure now. A chip and chase. Bailey and Cunningham, the two halves, have done very, very well and been able to put the Great Britain side under a lot of pressure, forcing repeat sets and getting a good chase on players so they can get down there and they can start their set of 6 very, very well. I've been very impressed with them, and the completion rate tells the story. 11 out of 15 as against 11 out of 18 makes a hell of a difference. And when you haven't got the football, you've got to make the tackles. When you've got to make the tackles, there's a fatigue factor that comes in. I would have expected the New Zealand A team to have fatigued more in this first 40 minutes than they have. They haven't, simply because they've controlled the ball better.
Well, passion, excitement, we need a bit of that in the second half. We need a bit of enthusiasm. Andy, where will it come from, do you think? It will be embarrassing, to be fair, if New Zealand A get very close to us at the end of this.
Well, I suppose so, Eddie, yeah, but, you know, it's all about ourselves and the things that we do right, and I think what we've got to put better in the second half definitely is stop going sideways. I think our boys are looking for the pass to put themselves through the gap instead of taking the game forward to the New Zealand players, and I think if we start doing that, then they will tire, and the gaps will come later on in the second half.
Well, it was a wonderful second-half performance from England A last night against Australia. And if you're a British viewer and if you're watching this at home and you're hoping and praying that Great Britain will take out the Ashes against Australia over the next 3 or 4 weeks, you'll be hoping for same again here at Headingley. But I'll tell you something, this New Zealand A side will not lie down. About to get the second half underway here at Headingley, the international match between Great Britain and New Zealand A. The British ahead 24-12. But 40 minutes is all that is left for Great Britain to prepare for the series against the Australians. And the mascot, well, very nice. Lost for words, Steve-O.
Well, the thing is, even the mascot looks placid, doesn't it? Get some fire in the bellies.
Well, there's the coach of the year, Brian Noble. Phil just behind him, getting the lowdown on what was said in the dressing rooms at half-time. They have to have a little bit more vigour in this second half. And we haven't seen Paul Anderson yet, have we, I don't think?
Well, they want to bring him on because they need someone to lead through it. But throughout that, on the both occasions that they had the conceded the tries, the Great Britain player just stood around. They didn't have anybody to look forward to or whatever. We've got our guest here, Andy Farrell, up here on the gantry. And I'll tell you what, if he would have been out there, he would have been lost for word because he would have been non-stop. He would have lost his voice. They need leadership, but they need more fire.
Well, we will check whether that was the basis of what was said in the Great Britain dressing room at half-time when we check with Bill in a moment. Meanwhile, the chase on the kick-off is more enthusiastic. Terry Newton in with the tackle there on Faitala. Just turning him over on his back.
Well, I hope that David Waite and his co-coaches have got the message across that we've only got 40 minutes remaining to prepare for the first test against
Paul
Australia.
Anderson is out there, number 17. He'll certainly be taking it forward with some vengeance when he gets ball in hand. Here's the kick. It's sliced off the outside of the boot and straight down the throat of David Hodgson. Well, we've got the half-time news from both dressing rooms. Chris Warren's with the Kiwis first, Bill Arthur with the British.
Eddie, there is a bit of disappointment in the British camp, but they're certainly not panicking, and David Waite just telling his players to just try and be a bit more disciplined. They're conscious of the fact that their completion rate hasn't been at all good, and that they have to improve in that respect. But they make the point that they've been down the New Zealand red zone 4 times, and they've scored each time they've been. So when they get it right, they can put points on the board.
This is a great run from Newton, and he's got Anderson with him, and Anderson's unstoppable. Anderson's over. It was scored by him, but credit Terry Newton with the run. He broke the defence, and Anderson skirting inside him, and that's just the start that David Waite would have required.
We had some more fire and more purpose, and certainly it came from this fella. Terry Newton run for the dummy half. Good support play by the big fella Anderson. Knew he was going to get there and all in the end. Very slow first and second market by New Zealand A. We know their tactics. In the second half, they'll just try to emulate what they did in the first 40, just try to keep the ball away from Great Britain. They know they're susceptible to have the try scored against them when GB have the ball in their hands, especially when they've got the power. That was missing in that first half. He'll bring something back to it.
2 former Leeds players combining there at Headingley. Terry Newton and Paul Anderson, and another one, Mike Forshaw, providing the refreshments for Anderson as he makes his way back, and watching here as Sean Long takes this conversion attempt. And Long adds the extras. Great Britain hit the 30-point mark, 30 points to 12, back to Bill Arthur.
Eddie, the other point that Brian Noble was just making there was that maybe the guys are just trying a bit too hard to please everybody, and just to be a little bit more disciplined and stick to the game plan. Let's find out what the Kiwi viewpoint is. Chris Warren alongside me.
Jared Stokes was very happy with the first half, although he won't be happy with that early try conceded in the opening minutes of the second period. The two areas they needed to improve on in this game that weren't features of their opening 3 games on this tour were discipline, and they needed to get off to a good start. On the discipline front, well, they conceded 18 penalties last week against the National League 2. They only conceded 3 penalties in the first half, and they got off to a very good start. They were only trailing by 6 points after 35 minutes as Anderson makes another break.
Yes, off he goes. He has made there about 35 metres ground. And his appearance, just like when Danny Maguire came on last night for the English, Stevo, has sparked Great Britain into life.
Well, it needed it, didn't it? We kept saying in that first half, Eddie, that we needed the forwards to just get a little bit more aggressive, and they've done that. That was a wonderful effort there by Anderson.
Oh, and here's Newton again, cutting them to ribbons. Oh, but well picked up over on that far side. And the good pass out wide. Oh, but that's pretty poor effort back inside. And Great Britain have it back. It was Bailey who made the interception. And the run, I think, came from Tupou. But at the end of the day, the pass inside was poor. And Great Britain have it back here in the shape of Sinfield. Now Senior.
Did well in the standoff. Gavin Bailey put himself in between. They had the overlap. And certainly Newton and Anderson have brought that little bit of spark that was missing in the first half.
Newton gets it to Deakin, and that was touched. Was that knockback? Is that going to be wiped down to 0? They might not need it, because here is Reardon. No, the tackle count continues on. Newton wide, and Richard Horne. Richard Horne held up so close to the line. Back it comes to Paul Deacon, looping past to Sinfield and flicked over his head and gathered in by Radlinski, who in turn gives it to Lee Gilmore. Gilmore now will straighten it up.
This will be the last on the kick. Surely it'll go to the corner.
Newton to Deacon, and Deacon again goes round. And the chance goes begging there. It bounced off. It bounced off the fullback Sione, and Paul Wood had glory beckoning him.
Well, he got the ricochet. Deacon got the second kick, and he just lost control of that.
They'll take the first knock on. Britain will get head and feet at this scrum. But that could have been a glorious moment for Paul Wood.
He knows it well. Look at disappointment etched on the face, but he's got plenty of time in the second half to get over for the try.
And Richard Horne trying to do exactly that now.
To tackle from Poker, the second rower.
Not the best pass though. Back it comes to Wood. And Wood, that's a good run. In the end, he's dragged to the ground by Jesse Royal. He is long. Sinfield back to long. On it goes then to Gilmore. Gilmore tries to go between 3 of them.
Where's the big fellas? Come on, Anderson should be steaming onto this.
Well, he's standing here, and there is Anderson, and the pass to Sinfield. Sinfield's in. 2 quick tries at the start of this second half for Great Britain. Kevin Sinfield on his home ground, and Paul Anderson's appearance has absolutely terrorised New Zealand A.
Sheer power, that's what they needed. We saw in the grand final against Wigan, the Bradford Bulls utilised that in that second half. Great Britain are doing exactly the same thing. Is it just a coincidence that Brian Noble is in the Great Britain squad there? They anticipate it was good play by Anderson, you know. They thought he was just going to trundle his way through. It was a neat little pass, look at that. Neat dummy, nothing they're going to stop there. It's home ground, Kevin Sinfield, very happy. That's better. But that is sheer quality from Paul Anderson. See how the defence hesitated. They were expecting a good barge, but it was a super offload. Quality.
Kevin Sinfield, the ever-present captain of Leeds in 2003. 273 points for him, a career best. More than 300 points for this fella for Saints. And 5 from 5 tonight. This for a 36-12 scoreline, which is much more healthy, but he's missed it. Ironic boos from the crowd.
Well, you see Mackie and Sione, the fullback, they anticipated the big charge from the big fella. Quality pass. Buckingham just a little bit slow to react, and it was sufficient for Sinfield. That's better, but there's more aggression. You can feel it. It's a different side from the first half.
Well, it's been a happy hunting ground, this, for Great Britain over the years. England did play World Cup games here in '95 and 2000. The last Test match to be staged here, coincidentally, was against New Zealand, the third Test in 1993, 29 points to 10. And a certain Andrew Farrell made a try-scoring debut for his country that day. Philip Clarke was at loose forward. And he also won the Man of the Series award that year, did Mr. Clarke. Good old Clarkie.
He's in his prime those days.
Slipped a bit since. There he is.
Still got the looks,
Great
though,
Britain
hasn't he?
team manager, absolutely. Problem here for Paul Wood. Crumples in a heap. He's taken a heavy knock. Oh, and he's clutching his arm, and this could be a serious injury for Paul Wood. Let's hope not. Here's Anderson again.
Well, that'll be a bitter blow to the youngster, Paul Wood.
Kick downfield from Deacon. He's gone for the 40-20. And it's a great race here from Hodgson. Back it goes to Sione. They've taken the gamble, New Zealand A. They've got away with it, though.
Great positioning yet again. Lucy Sione is having the game of his life. He's only just made one mistake. Remember, he just couldn't get to the ball with a kick in that first half from Sean Long. But other than that, 2 tries, and he's done everything that's been asked of him, in defence especially.
Well, Steve was saying
that was a high one.
Lucy Sione is having the game of his life. Chris Warren, I think you've got some news on him.
Yeah, it's an interesting story about Sione. Obviously got plenty of flair as a fullback. He scored 21 tries last year in the Bartercard Cup Premiership. Of the 4 grand finals played in the Barter Cup, he's been a member twice of the winning team. He's been touted by a number of NRL clubs, but I'm told he refuses to go on religious grounds. He simply refuses to train on a Saturday.
Wow. That's interesting. And the other line, by the way, about Carl Edmondson, who is the Cumbrian-born, apparently his mum and dad objected to the building of a power station in Cumbria when he was a youngster, and they emigrated to New Zealand. He's been there ever since. This is bad news for Paul Wood. Looks like he's picked up a nasty injury. I've no doubt that Bill Arthur will be chasing the news of that. This is the last tackle here. Deacon eventually gets to his feet. Now it's with Long. And there's the kick. And the chase. Oh, knock on there. It's a drop out underneath the sticks coming up.
Tupou made a real meal of that. Speculative kick there from the halfback Sean Long. And the error rightly seen by the official Steve Ganson. Well, I must say, has impressed me. He's allowed a lot of things to go on because he's fully aware about the importance of the build-up to this game for Great Britain. But it's a lot more healthier than we saw in the first 40.
Drop out then from underneath the sticks by Sione.
Come on, New Zealand!
Deacon claims it eventually and gives it to Paul Anderson. Well, that's a good tackle, bravery by the New Zealanders. McDermott has lost it.
Another mistake.
And McDermott didn't like the attention he was receiving then.
Well, I think it's sheer frustration that he got a big hit on him.
Like he was all over his back, was up round his neck. And they now have a penalty. New Zealand A, that is.
They'll be quite content just to make sure this ball is booted right into the corner. And they'll go through the basics yet again, which has served them quite well.
Sean McRae, better start to the second half.
Much better start, Eddie. A lot more cohesion there, and they've upped the tempo a little bit of the Great Britain side. You know, the first 10-12 minutes of the half have certainly dominated, and that's reflected on the scoreboard. I think really if Great Britain are to get the runaway win that everybody expected them to get, they're certainly going to have a better completion rate. And up until probably Barry McDermott received a difficult ball, I think, that was looking promising. They're going to be tested here defensively. New Zealand A probably aren't going to change their game plan. I don't think they're going to play catch-up at all, but they will put pressure on if they complete their sets, and that's what they're all about. They did it so well in the first half. The goal is to do the same thing in the second half.
Chance here for a try, just held up short. It's Baessa. This is the last, and the kick cross field. Well, there's 4 against 2, 5 against 2 here. Sione has got it again, and he's scored a hat-trick. He's got to check whether he's onside.
Check the onside, offside, and grounding, please.
There's nothing wrong with the grounding. He wants to check whether he was onside. But it was 5 against 2. Great Britain really were struggling for numbers, but Sione, well, he deserves the hat-trick.
He's been outstanding, this fella. Good high kick from Gavin Bailey. But where were the defenders? They hesitated. Long really should have committed himself to the football rather than just trying to help Shepherd. This is poor positional play.
Long says the try scorer's onside, but there are 2 or 3 there who are offside.
Oh, this will be given, no doubt in my mind. It was a very poor attempt by everybody concerned in it. Red, white and blue jumper. And this guy has taken this game apart. That's try time, and fully deserved. We were awful in defence there. No calling, no conversation between each other. There's confirmation of the TRY. What a game this fullback's having.
Something for David Waite to ponder. He hurt his shoulder in scoring the try, but the pain will be forgotten. He'll read in the morning. He is credited with a hat-trick, and what a hat-trick.
But what a soft effort. When you look at the defence there, we spoke earlier about the Great Britain side, they're not communicating with each other. No one actually went for it. In fact, Hodgson pulled away. Sean Long pulled away earlier, and it left a very simple opportunity for the full-back.
Buckingham adds the extras, 34 points to 18. It is a highly credible performance from New Zealand A, this. And it is a performance from Great Britain that will leave questions unanswered. And all the optimism that we had last night is starting to evaporate, I'm afraid.
Well, we thought that it would lift the senior players after a wonderful performance from the youngsters last night against the full-fledged Kangaroo side.
And a near test team, by the way.
Precisely.
Well, maybe the job is not going to be as easy as we thought.
Well, as I said, Eddie, you can't get too excited. Don't worry, this Australian side, they'll get it right. I know, at the risk of just repeating myself time and time again, this is the only build-up we've got. The Australians have had 4, or will have had 4, when they play Wales on Sunday, as a build-up to it. This is going to be very difficult for David Waite to get the cohesion going.
There are some world-class players missing, though, tonight for Great Britain. And Linsky fields the kick near his own try line.
I think the big disappointment for David Waite is the fact that the forwards have not stamped their authority.
Now, we've seen Paul Wood leaving the field, seeming in some distress. Bill, what's the news?
The early news, Eddie, is that Paul Wood has suffered a shoulder injury. It sounds as though he dislocated the shoulder in that tackle, and the shoulder, it might actually have gone back in there, I think, just as he hit the deck at the end of that tackle. He was certainly in a lot of pain there, hoping that that is the case, that it was a dislocation that's gone back in, but it's not a fracture. And Paul Wood, desperately sad for him, because he was so thrilled to be the late call-up for Great Britain into the squad, to be part of David Waite's plans, and then to suffer this injury tonight is a hammer blow for the young man from Warrington.
Yes, it is. The kick from Deacon is picked up by the winger Apura.
Back here, wait, put it on the ball before we go.
Well, enthusiasm, it's there for all to see in the black jersey.
That's better defence by Great Britain. They know the seriousness of this game, Eddie. 34-18. It's something that we can't be proud of.
That's good work.
Remember, these are only amateurs that they're playing against.
Pick downfield from Buckingham into the safe arms of Reardon, and he then tips it inside to Radlinsky. It's a good chase, though. Again.
Well, look at us, we're walking back. there's hardly anybody there to help. Far too many of the players are walking, Eddie.
Second,
they've got to get this urgency.
Come on.
Maybe it will appear here with Anderson. Well, they've put the big man on him. Tuakura. George Tuakura, he was sin bin twice in the match. But Ronnie Lawton had control of. This is Radlinski.
Move. Job's done. Move.
That was in the game against National League 2. This is the game against Great Britain. And that pass went off the head of Senior from Sinfield.
The sheer exasperation. Used a dummy runner well, and Senior really shouldn't have gone for that football. It was a miss-out pass across the face, and you can see Senior got in that way.
Come on.
I think when it comes to going back a few years to my school report, I used to get in the right-hand column, could do better. I wonder what David Waite's report will be on this.
They've made 9 handling errors, Great Britain, which hasn't helped their cause.
Hold.
And this is McDade.
Third, markers locking.
Only 15 completed sets from Great Britain out of 27 times in possession. They will have to scrub up in that statistic a week on Saturday.
It's impossible to take on the Australians if you come up with a stat like that.
Mind you, they weren't holding on to the football either last night, were they? So they have got problems there as well.
And certainly in the first half.
And the fact that it's Australia, Steve-O, will lift everybody in the red, white and blue jersey. There's no doubt about it.
Come on, good effort,
I understand what you're saying about this is their only opportunity to get it right. But it will be a fantastic series.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. We all know that.
That's a big hit on McDermott. It was Tyrone Pow who got to him first, and he felt that, the Leeds prop. Deacon, ball on the inside, Long drops it again, another mistake. Picked up almost inevitably by Sione.
One thing you've got to understand, Eddie, you've got to be quite honest about this game of rugby league. There's nowhere to hide.
What's your game?
I know it'll make a difference when you've got the likes of Farrell and Sculthorpe back here and Peacock. We understand the quality of it because it's been in the forwards that we've been lacking.
Hold it, hold.
Limmer to Buckingham again. Oops, and a little juggle there by Tuakura. And then a wild pass backwards. Sinfield's after this. They're lucky to get away with that. They've lost momentum.
Good work from Tamale there. He went back. Bit of a high grab. He'll penalise him. The big fella Paul Anderson just has a wry smile at... no doubt about it. Made the impact on the top of the football, but finished up into the mush.
Okay, mate.
Well, he's done his hard work since he came out.
Okay.
He's certainly set the pattern. The New Zealand A side quite happy just to let the clock tick away.
Okay.
They must be feeling extremely proud.
Yes, it's a really good showing from New Zealand A. Sean?
It is, Eddie. It's I think sometimes we can be a little critical of Great Britain. They are trying things, and I don't think you can be critical of the fact they're trying. Sometimes the execution is not as good as what we'd like it to be, and you know, like players are pushing up and there's inside options and outside options. Ball's not quite hitting the target. I think we can appreciate that that's going on. I just think sometimes there's a lack of urgency with the Great Britain side, and I'd like to see them up the tempo a little bit. But again, I've got to repeat that they're not being allowed to do that because they've come up against a side that's prepared just to go through their sets of 6, take up time on the clock, and get to a kicking game and put a bit of pressure on.
And also nearly score tries in the corner. That's on the last tackle. It was a dive for the line by Vyasa.
Oh,
that's a poor ball. Gobbled up by Ryan Hudson.
They missed a golden opportunity there. Well, they're coming into the final quarter. They're into the final quarter, and this is where Great Britain really should race away from it.
Well, I noticed a statistic earlier that they were running through their interchanges, and here is Sinfield, and here is Sean Long, and Long is quick, and he's got Radlinski, who is also quick, and Radlinski will get his second of the night. British captain. And that's much better. That was a Quicksilver attack from one end of the field to the other.
Great work from Sinfield. And good support play by Sean Long. Thought for one moment it just held on a little bit far too long, but he waited till the fullback came through. Good effort. Should have offloaded there. A couple of dummies, got away with it. And the man who knows the way to the line so many times, Chris Radlinski. That's better. Good effort. Just thought maybe a dummy too long. Apula tried his best. And the Great Britain fullback quite happy to launch himself for a 4-point. And this is where we, as Sean McRae was just mentioning, Eddie, that what I've been shouting for right throughout this game, up the tempo, get a little bit more aggressive. And it was certainly aggressive from this fella, Kevin Sinfield. He wanted that ball, he wanted to burst through the defensive line. And that's what we need right the way throughout. Maybe they can salvage a lot more pride in the last 17-18 minutes.
Sinfield adds 2 more points, change of kicker for Great Britain. They lead now by 40 points to 18. Well, Great Britain could easily turn on the gas here and rattle up the points. That's what British viewers want to see, but it would be a bit of an injustice to the New Zealand A team, I must say.
Well, they've done a fine effort, and the stats will always say that the ability that's Great Britain side, if they get anywhere near, they'll score a try. That's their first long length try that they've scored. So they're getting a bit more confident to keep this ball alive. Maybe that will spur them on, but this is what we need, into the forwards. Aggression. We've got to be nasty. It's not drafts or chess that we're playing against these Australians. We've got to give it to them.
Hudson to Anderson, good hands, Deacon. Could have been a penalty there.
Should have been.
Hudson, Anderson again. Anderson on the charge, but they get him down.
It's better. Good tackle though by Limmer. He's worked hard in defence as a little hooker.
And the kick from Hudson is a good one. And Sione, oh, he took that over. He took that over the dead ball line.
Well, the touch judge has pulled him back, getting a bit of dropout. He's gone to the official with the flag.
Just here.
There. It's a 50-50. It's going to be the dropout.
Good work from the touch judge and the referee, working as a team.
Not happy, Gerard Stokes, the New Zealand Day coach, so I must say, where was the pressure being applied? They were very, very slow there. Look, no doubt he took it over. It was an eternity before. I think Richard Horn was about the nearest man to it.
That's the first mistake that Sione has made. He's got a hat-trick to his name. The dropout from him finds Gareth Ellis, who has not let anyone down on his international debut. Long, Deacon, Anderson, up the middle, route one, gets the pass away.
Come by. Okay, he's offside, the Kiwi player. He's offside.
I'm sure they'll take a quick tap. Accidental offside, came off Johnny Limmer. Fatala was in front, well spotted. Now then, get it into the corner and put on a set move. David Waite would have been working hard in that department, and this is where you've got to utilise.
Fielden's on the charge.
What about the dummy runner through and then use the big fella Anderson again?
This is Sinfield. Here's Anderson. Hudson. Sinfield. Deacon. Senior. Hodgson. And Hodgson scores another for Great Britain.
Okay.
A lot more purpose there. A lot more understanding as well.
Mate, be a bit careful.
Nice finish. that Paul Anderson makes. It was his drive that put him into that position there. But all at sea, Sione couldn't do anything about it. Good pass from Senior, a bit long, but it didn't matter. Hodgson and the quality. Deacon's pass was superb. It had to be as well. And Hodgson in for a good try. That's better. See the difference between the urgency in the forwards, Eddie, to take them there, suck in the defence, and you're gonna have the overlap out wide. It's not rocket science sometimes, our game.
Hodgson's try, he is Wigan's top scorer this year with 20, and Kevin Sinfield with the opportunity to add a couple more. There's the man who's made the difference, big Paul Anderson. And Sinfield adds 2 more points. That's 46-18 now.
We made the point midway through the first half when the Australians brought Cairns on from the bench. What a difference he made to the Kangaroos. It's all about the power. And once you get the power going up front, you suck in the defence, and then you've got the ability out wide. We know we've got the class. That was a good finish by Hodgson. He's worked hard all year. Well, he deserves his selection tonight.
Onside, Kiwis! Onside!
Well, if your mind goes back to the Test series against the Kiwis last year, you will remember that Henry Fafili became the first New Zealander to score a hat-trick against Great Britain in a Test match after all those years. But Sione, the fullback here tonight, in his first international, all right, it's not a Test match, but it's opposition from Great Britain. In his first international against Great Britain, he has come up with the hat-trick, so that's quite a statistic for the 28-year-old New Zealand A fullback. Well done to him. As we say, a night that he will remember. And it's a night that New Zealand A will remember for a long, long time to come. They have acquitted themselves well. They've been enthusiastic. They've made Great Britain battle for the win that will surely be theirs now. This is Hodgson. Paul Deacon again. Good running from Sinfield, but he was hit a little high by Tyrone Pow. Went back to field, and in the end,
good play by Kevin Sinfield there. A lot of players, you know, would have just gone to the ground hoping that they'd get the penalty. But he wanted to carry on.
Clear out!
He played his part as Sinfield in the second half.
This is the last tackle, and the kick over the top is by Paul Deacon, and it doesn't find touch or a slip there by the winger to Pow.
That's good defence. That's power. They've got up another cog.
19 breaks from Great Britain. They really have examined this New Zealand A defence at times. They've put the ball down on the last tackle once or twice as well, it has to be said, but 19 breaks is a good statistic.
Certainly is, but it was to be expected, Eddie. In many ways, against the quality of this New Zealand A side, if you make 19 breaks, you really should finish up with virtually at least 16 or 17 tries.
On the last here, they're going to have to kick via Steve Buckingham to get out of trouble, which they do. Finds Radlinski, and the chase now is a little laboured from New Zealand A. And here goes Reardon. And in the end, he's claimed by Tupou.
I mean, the highlight of this New Zealand A side is that their kick and chase. I mean, we were fully expecting them to tire after the first 20 minutes. I was becoming somewhat worried that, especially in the final quarter, they may just capitulate, but they're still at it. They're still putting their bodies on the line. They can walk off this field tonight. Hold their heads up very high indeed.
It went backwards. Great Britain are lucky to get away with that. This is Deacon. And he was just going nowhere then, and Edmondson came in with the tackle. Senior to McDermott. Went backwards again, off the boot of McDermott to Sinfield, and wide it goes, and well claimed in the air by Richard Horn. But he's surrendered the ball, and the first knock on is off Great Britain, says Steve Ganson.
It was well taken by Richard Horn. It was a looping pass out wide. And then he come back on the inside, lost possession, just bounced away. That's the first knock on, no advantage. And no rush by the black and whites.
Well, they say in any sport a win's a win, Sean, don't they?
They sure do, and I think the Great Britain side will accept the fact that they haven't played as well as they would have liked to, but in certain circumstances they've only been played as well as they've been allowed to play by the New Zealand A. I think the scoreline will reflect that New Zealand A have been beaten comfortably, but everybody that's watched this game, whether on television or at the ground here, will know that it's been a fantastic effort by a side who really were written off before the kick-off. In some games that they've played before, they've been a little shabby, but you know, they've really stood up to this game. It's almost like they've set themselves for this game, and they've sort of peaked for it. And I think they've come out and played well. I think it's just a bit of a shame that the scoreline won't reflect it. Great Britain will be happy with the scoreline. I think they'd be happy if they could maybe add another two or three tries before the 80 minutes is up. But we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Indeed so. It was a great kick and chase by New Zealand again, and Hodgson, he did well to tidy up the danger. That's why Great Britain have the possession here with Anderson, who plays the ball to Ryan Hudson. Now McDermott, and here again comes Gilmore. Good tackle low down though by the centre, Tamoli. Deacon. Back on the inside is Fielden. Just struggling to get away from the number 16, Walter Mackey. This is the last tackle for Britain. Paul Deacon with a kick over the top, looking for David Hodgson out wide, but it's claimed again by Apula.
He's had to work overtime as well. Gilmore just obstructed there by the referee, Steve Ganson. I have to agree with Sean McRae that when you look at the scoreline, you would expect to say, well, Great Britain just went over in a romp, but one thing about it is that it'll certainly give us the slide rule. We know we've got to improve a lot.
Well, I suppose 108-0, and we would have all really been celebrating the fact that the Ashes were on the way to these shores. But as you say, this has given Great Britain something to think about.
Yeah.
Something to build on as well.
As England A did last night, has left the Australians with a lot to think about too. It's building up to a great test series.
Yes, what a series that will be. It begins at Wigan next Saturday week, the 8th. On to Hull, then to Huddersfield. 6:15 kick-off. Information line for the Rugby Football League, 0113 2329 111. I know the Hull date on the 15th is sold out, but what a series it is going to be. If you can't be there, and there's really nothing like being at a test match, or indeed at a grand final for that matter, you can of course watch it with us on Sky Sports. And we will follow it all the way to Huddersfield and hopefully bring you all the drama. This is McDermott looking to offload, and does. And then Sinfield keeps it going, but they go backwards and lose momentum. Now Richard Hall.
5 Kiwis here! Come on!
Hudson. Sinfield with the kick on the last.
It's a good kick too.
Apuala deals with it. And then the chase.
David Wade will be happy with the department, the way that they've done as one in the chase, and that's a bad mistake. That'll be the scrum down head and field to Great Britain.
Down to Bill quickly, Steve-O, news of Paul Wood.
Eddie, it's good news. Well, better news of Paul Wood anyway, because the fears that he's dislocated or even broken a bone in the shoulder area don't seem to hold up. It looks like it's a muscle injury that he's got, so that's a lot easier for the Great Britain medical team to deal with, and maybe he's not out of the reckoning yet.
Good news indeed. Deacon now to feed the scrum.
Watch for Sinfield coming back. Have they got the set move?
A right push and shove at the scrum.
Some of the Great Britain players look a little bit shocked about that. Something they don't usually see that in the Super League. They just lean against each other. Now they've decided to get their own back. Push.
Deacon, all the way is he? Well, he's held up and over the line, but he was tackled in the field of play and then rolled over the top.
Tackled and
well, looks hurt, does Deacon? He's not well.
He does.
He's had a knock into the kidney area, back the rib cage.
Hudson to Radlinski, steps inside one, and Radlinski, the other fullback, gets the hat-trick. The Great Britain skipper on the night comes up with the hat-trick try. Whatever Lucy Sione can do, Chris Radlinski can equal for Britain.
Much better. Good use of the dummy runner. And that was Lee Gilmore that came through and just made the New Zealand A defence hesitate. See how they just hang back. And as soon as the ball went through, the fullback was always on his way to the line. A lot more accomplished performance by Great Britain in the second half. Slowly but surely they've built upon a very poor first half. A lot more enthusiasm certainly in this second stanza. A lot more work from the forwards, especially the big fella Paul Anderson. He's made the difference.
Well, they've hit the half-century mark, which a lot of people thought they would, and they now make it 52. That's on the credit side. On the debit side, the 3 tries that they have conceded will be a matter of some concern for Great Britain and the Lion. But Radlinski, as skipper, has come up with the hat-trick. 3 breaks, 3 tries.
And a fitting tribute to his first appearance as the captain of the Great Britain side.
Okay.
It has been a night for the 2 fullbacks, hasn't it? Lucy Sione, well, he'll be able to tell his relatives for many a year the ability. That's another mistake. It's a bobbling ball, not easy.
Richard Horn trying to take it around the ankles. Well, do New Zealand A have one more try in them?
Well, that should be the message now amongst this Great Britain side. The message must come through and just say, come on, we've got to make sure that they don't get anywhere near. Work hard.
Locking. Straight in and out, straight in and out.
The last hurrah for New Zealand A then in the last minute. Oh, and they're nearly through. It was the centre to Morley who almost got through the rear guard. This is Mackey.
Second, here.
30 seconds remaining. Limmer to Bailey. Wide it goes to
Come on.
Likey.
Well, if they're aware, they'll utilise a kick surely. After this play the ball, keep your eye on the 2 halfbacks.
Limmer, it's a good run. It's a great run. He's still not tackled. Now he is.
Will it be the kick from Buckingham?
It's Bailey. And here's a chance, and he puts it down, does Vasa. That will be it. Great Britain win by 52 points to 18. A scoreline that doesn't really reflect the effort from the New Zealand A team. And David Waite knows he has got a lot to do in the 10 days or so between now and the first test. The job is certainly not completed yet. All right, there are a lot of world-class players absent. They will come into the reckoning, obviously, and I wonder when he meets his coaching staff tonight and discusses what to do now with this squad, I just wonder whether he will be tempted to bring any of the England A side into the reckoning for the series against Australia. 9 tries Great Britain scored, 3 tries they conceded. It's an overwhelming victory on paper. In practice, it was a bit of a struggle, to be fair. But at least Great Britain go into the Ashes series and they haven't been embarrassed. And their skipper comes up with a hat-trick. Well, it was comprehensive enough in the end. 9 tries to 3. Great Britain 52, New Zealand A 18. Britain head towards the Ashes with half a century of points behind them. But the Man of the Match award, as voted by the members of the press, goes to the hat-trick man from New Zealand A, and well-deserved as well. Lucy Sione is talking to Chris Warren.
Lucy, fantastic performance from you. Man of the match, how do you feel?
Yeah, a bit disappointed at the moment. We should have, we could have done better. But it's yeah, just disappointed, I suppose.
I guess the scoreline, Liz, it doesn't really reflect the way the match went. You must be very proud of your boys.
Oh yeah, I'm very proud of the boys. You know, they stand up. You know, we know it was going to be a hard game, but you know, we came here and just play. You know, so.
3 tries for yourself, a little bit different to, I remember you were on the end of a 108-0 scoreline defeat in the New Zealand residents against the Kangaroos back in 2000. You've turned the corner since then.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, mate. No, yeah, it's we didn't want to. For me personally, I didn't want to go down that road again. And, you know, I just want to play hard, and yeah, got the result. You know, it's just 3 tries, but nah, it's not very good at the end of the day, I suppose.
All right, Leslie, good luck with the rest of the tour.
Hey, thank you very much. Thanks for the play of the match. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, Leslie.
Well, deserved man of the match. Disappointed with the outcome, a hefty defeat. And Sean McRae on the sideline. Great Britain will take this with them now into the Ashes series. Are they good enough to win the Ashes?
Well, they're good enough to win. I mean, we're going to see a different combination, of course, Eddie, in a week and a half's time. There's certain players to come back. I'm sure Paul Sculthorpe will make the team, and I'm very hopeful Andy Farrell will make the team as well. I'm sure he will if he's fit. Same thing as we saw with Australia last night. There's room for improvement, but you know what? If I was coaching a side tonight that I knew was a friendly game, that we wanted to get some combinations, get some cohesion, work on some things, and also not necessarily show the opposition